Hello, Neil Armstrong Academy families and parents. It is I, Mr. Sorensen, coming to you with an important announcement about student safety. As principal of the school, one of my most important functions is to make sure that all of the students are safe at all times. And recently we've been having some difficulty in our parking lots and pick-up and drop-off areas with some individuals who are not following our guidelines and rules. And sometimes they're putting students at danger. And so we want to make sure that everybody knows our expectations and so that everyone can follow those parking rules and that everyone can be safe at all times. Okay, so the first thing that I wanted to talk about is this right here. This is a yellow curb. We have a lot of yellow curbs here at Neil Armstrong Academy. A yellow curb, anywhere you see a curb that is painted yellow, indicates a pickup and drop-off zone. Now, a pickup and drop-off zone means that it is a place where we pick up students and we drop off students. That means that the parents or whoever is driving the car at no time leaves that car. That car should always have a driver in it. Now, the reason behind that is because the people who are on this yellow curb, the intent is that they will be on this yellow curb for the smallest amount of time possible to do the job. So I don't want anybody to be unsafe with the ideas that you pull up, you drop off your students, you quickly depart. Or you pull up, you pick up your students, and you quickly depart. Nobody at any time during the day should be parking in this area, and nobody should ever leave a car on a yellow curb. Yellow curbs are not a parking place at any time during the day. They are always a pickup and drop-off zone. And so if everybody's picking up and dropping off efficiently, there should be plenty of pickup and drop-off zones for everyone to use throughout the school. Okay, so the next thing we need to talk about is this right here. This is a red curb. A red curb is, simply put, a no parking zone. There is never a reason to put your car here. That means that even if you're in the car and the car is idling, you still don't get to stop where there is a red curb. The red curbs have been very, very carefully placed on our grounds to make sure that they maximize the flow of traffic. When somebody stops where we have a red curb, it creates a jam up in traffic, and that is inconvenient for everyone. And then people get antsy and upset, and the traffic starts to move slow, and then that puts our students in danger because people begin rushing. So please be respectful of red curbs. Do not park there. Any red curb at any time, please make sure you never place your vehicle there. The next stop on our trip are these. These are parking spaces. They're indicated by gray curbs and white lines. When you see a parking space, this is a perfect place to place your car if you need to come into the building. I have chosen these particular parking spaces to look at because I've been with Neil Armstrong Academy for quite some time as a teacher and now as an administrator, and unless it's an after-school event of some magnitude, I have never seen all of these parking spaces taken. We have a huge parking lot here at Neil Armstrong Academy, and during the regular school day, we always have ample parking. So if you need to come into the building for any reason, we would invite you to find one of these parking spaces, even if it's for a short period of time, and that will allow traffic to flow safely and cleanly throughout the rest of our parking area. Next, I would like to talk about this guy. This is an orange traffic cone. I know many of you have unkind feelings towards traffic cones. I understand those feelings myself. Sometimes they can be frustrating, but our cones here at Neil Armstrong Academy are special. They've been donated by patrons lovingly and bought out of our very scarce school funds, and they are shockingly more expensive than you would imagine that they are. We would ask you, please, please, kindly, try not to run over our cones. Please try not to run over our cones. They're expensive to replace and they're difficult to find. If you see a cone, treat it as though it's an endangered animal that must be protected. You wouldn't run over a bunny rabbit. Don't run over our cones. Thank you. All right, yeah! This area here is our bus loading zone. This is an important area to talk about safety, and it's probably the area where we have the greatest amount of difficulty. This area with the giant yellow curb and the huge circle were designed for loading and unloading of our school buses. There is a sign right there that says bus only. That means, unless you're a giant yellow school bus, this area is not for you. Now, I try to be reasonable. If you're coming for a before-school activity or an after-school activity, then absolutely feel free to use this as a standard loading zone. But remember, there are yellow curbs. You're never to park here. But, and this is critical, in this area, our school buses have absolute supreme right of way. You cannot be in their way at any time, for any length of time, no matter how short. If a school bus pulls up behind you, you gotta go. I have instructed our bus drivers that if there is somebody in this zone that is not giving them right of the way, they are to honk at them loudly and rudely. That is not because I am mean towards the people who use this area. It is simply because this is clearly marked as a bus-only zone. If you're not a bus, get out of the way. This area here is a crosswalk, which services our kindergarten and our other students as they travel from the front of the building loading zones to the back playground. It is heavily trafficked. As a result, you will notice all of the curbs in this area are red, which means there should never be any cars in this area. We have purchased 4 very beefy brand new cones, which we will be using to block off this area. We ask you to respect those cones, please, and please stay out of this area. We have nearly had so many students hit here by people, and that is not because those people are being negligent, and it is not because they are being terrible drivers. It is simply because when we have students crossing in an area where we have heavy traffic, that becomes a danger. This is designed as a footpath for students. Cars should never be back here. We will be blocking this off with cones. We apologize for the inconvenience. If that blocks off your normal place where you've been dropping off and picking up, please make sure to make other arrangements with your students to drop them off or pick them up in some other place. These fine-looking people here are members of our safety patrol. Our safety patrol is tasked with helping our students be safe. They man many of our crosswalks, crossing areas, and they're there to help students cross safely. Please make sure that when the safety patrol is out there with their flags that you are doing everything that you can to be courteous and respectful of them. They are putting their lives at risk to protect your children, so please heed their counsel and do not walk across the crosswalks unless they prompt you to do so, and please do not drive across the crosswalks if they have stopped you with their flags. We would like to make sure that our safety patrol is kept safe as well. I know that this is a lot of rules to remember, but remember, student safety here at Neil Armstrong Academy is everyone's responsibility. The worst tragedy would be if a student were injured somehow by our carelessness. So please make sure that we're following all of the rules that are outlined in our parking procedures. Now, because we are a public institution, we have limited funds, and because of that, we simply do not have the manpower to be outside policing these rules at all times. We simply don't have the people or manpower or staff or money to be out there making sure that everyone's following the rules. We rely on you folks, our patrons, to make sure that you are following those rules to have everything run smoothly. If for some reason we should see someone who is not following those rules, then we will issue you one of these. So if you're not following one of our parking rules, or you've gone into an inappropriate location, or you've run over one of my cones, I will issue you one of these on the windshield of your car. And all it will have on there is a friendly reminder to please remember that you're following our rules and guidelines when you're here at Neil Armstrong Academy. And there will be a QR code printed on this ticket with a link to this video to review again those parking procedures. Perhaps you're watching this video for the first time because you've received one of these. We forgive you, but please follow our rules and procedures when we're here at Armstrong. Again, student safety is everyone's responsibility, and we very much appreciate your cooperation. Have a wonderful day.